friends and foes. Welcome back to another episode of Brushwork. My name is Stephanie Scott, and today I have a very special guest. Her name is Brittany Torres. She is of the social Atelier, and together we're talking about how building relationships on social media gets you art sales. Brittany is a mindset and marketing coach for fine artists. Brittany is the ace up my sleeve when it comes to social media and branding. With Brittany, I have transformed my online presence. I have transformed my website. I have a better understanding about my brand language. She's helped me with so many things, and I really value her word and her guidance when it comes to being a coach for fine artists. And I think what we talked about will be really helpful for you as an emerging artist. Side note, before we get right into the interview, there was a bit of a thunderstorm happening right at the beginning of our interview together. So you're going to hear a little bit of thunder, a little bit of rain. Just think of it as the ambiance of pre-fall weather. I hope you like it. All right, let's get into the episode. Today on the podcast, I have Brittany Torres. She is of the Social Atelier. And Brittany has saved my life. Just gonna put it that way.
I think you're giving me too much credit.
Brittany has transformed my business in a way that is just like, I feel like every time I give you $100, I like make thousands of dollars. So I found you when you were doing a webinar. The Seattle Art Post shared your image, your things. And I was like, a social media coach? What is that? I had never heard of a social media coach before. I had been like doing Instagram on my own for 6 or 7 years and just struggling by and trying to get one follower at a time, as you do, as most artists do. And then I saw your post and it was like a week-long overhaul.
Yeah, so that was such a fun workshop. So it was called Your Social Story, and it was teaching artists how to be authentic on social media. And the great thing is, and I love that you bring that up because you're like, what's a social media coach? The great thing is that that's not all I do. I'm a mindset and marketing coach for fine artists, but there's not a lot of those. Mm-hmm. It's kind of, a lot of my business I've had to create based out of the needs of the artists that I've met and worked with. So when I introduce myself sometimes as, hi, I'm Brittany Torres and I'm a mindset and marketing coach for fine artists. People are like, what is that? So when bringing in brand new people to my space, marketing that kind of workshop, I'm just like, hey, I'll help you with your social media because that can make sense. And you're like, okay, great. And it's a great place to start for people to see how bringing somebody else in might really be beneficial to them, to their art, to their business, to their stress levels. And so I really love offering that. I'm actually going to offer that workshop again later this fall.
Are you really?
So I'll let you know.
Heike, it's so good. Every time I do a workshop, I have like this like way of approaching it where it's like, okay, I'm going to follow literally everything they say to do to the extreme. And I think when you go into a workshop, especially when that's free, that's the best price. Love free. You have the ability to really transform your own space and, become, I guess, accountable for your own transformation that happens when you have a workshop like that, which is really, really cool. Y'all, if you're listening, you should go to this workshop. It's pretty fun. So from there, I was like, okay, Brittany knows what she's up to because I implemented some of the things you said during the workshop, and like the next week, sometimes like overnight, things would change dramatically for my engagement, for people talking to me about paintings, things like that. And I was like, I got to find out more.
I love having a front row seat to the transformation of your social media over the last year. It has been so neat to see because you really put it into practice. Because I teach a lot of artists, but whether or not they follow through after our teaching time is done, it's up to them. And so you stayed really dedicated, and I think you're a great example. When you stay true to that, stay in for the long haul, what a difference it can make. Because I've just seen you having this blossoming in your social media, because I know connecting with your audience is so important. It's one of the reasons you started a podcast. Mm-hmm. You do Twitch, right? And it's one of the reasons I wanted you on my podcast, because I wanted people to hear how how awesome it is when you can create a community connection the way you have. But not everybody does that. And it can be really hard. And one of the things that I have loved seeing you do is continue to reach out, is continue to be involved. If I offer a class, Stephanie's there. If, I do a workshop, Stephanie's enrolled. If I offer one-on-one sessions, like I think it's been like every 3 months or every 4 months, you bought just a one-off session, and we go through and work on mostly like your website and kind of auditing that and create game plans and strategies. But you stay consistent no matter what it is. And I think that building on that has really, really helped you grow into the social media that you have today. Obviously, I'm not trying to make it sound like, it's all due to me, because it's not. It's all due to you. It's all due to your hard work and your work ethic and your dedication to it. But I've seen how you implement these strategies and really just run with it. And it's been really awesome to see, because the engagement on your social media is awesome. Your community is great. And I think that just is a testament to how hard you work at it.
It's really the work you put in after the instruction that matters most when you're taking a lesson from anyone. And that's being consistent about is like the most important thing. After I did that workshop with you, I was part of your group coaching, which was the Social Atelier's gosh, I forgot the name of it. The Society, yes.
Oh, no. Long live the Society.
It was so great. It was like a once a month, office hours you had, plus some, weekly coaching you did. And it was really, really helpful. Since then you've closed the Society, which was, a good move on everyone's part.
I know. I still miss it though. I do. I miss that. And I miss that, chance to be in person with the group and stuff. So but it wasn't sustainable. In the sense that like renting places to meet was like difficult. And, I refuse to charge artists too much money. Right. So I'm like, I don't want the monthly cost to be very high. I think that it was just best at the time, it kind of got us through that period of when we were coming out of lockdown and all that time. And we felt so disconnected and we felt so lonely as creatives to be able to create a space where we could like, hey, we're going to meet up every month and here is your community. And it kind of helped us to get kickstarted back into community and society as artists. So if that is the purpose that it served, then that makes me so happy.
It did a great job.
I'm definitely going to pull things from that and from that experience and see how we can kind of, recreate some of that in the future going forward. Because one of the things that I love about Social Atelier is, the emphasis on community and supporting each other. Because even though it is a business and, we charge money and, we make a living, I don't want that to be the focus of it. And that's something actually that I think a lot of times, like you and I have talked about, other artists have talked about, is like when you stop chasing the money, you stop chasing the specific dollar sign and focus on doing what you love and creating experiences and enjoying working on your series and getting ready for your show that's coming up. And if, your goal, I know your goal this year is to sell every painting you make, but you don't have a set dollar sign on that, right? So you're not chasing that. That's not where your heart is. Your heart is still in your painting. That's when you are the most successful. By putting the emphasis on community, by putting on how can I serve my artists? How can I serve the artists in my community? That is what really fuels me and gives me joy and keeps the business going, because people respond to that and, we're kind of in it together. It's awesome.
I feel like my favorite thing that I've done with you is the one-on-one coaching that you have. And
so fun.
It's so fun.
So fun.
After Brittany shut down the Society group, I was like, okay, I do still need help once every couple of months. So I went to her website and she has one-on-one coaching. And can you describe to me what a coaching session is like? What is that about?
So a one-on-one coaching session is a one-time meeting between myself and the artist, and we jump on Zoom or we do it in person. If you're local to Seattle, I offer in-person meetings as well. And we work on whatever you need help with, really. So it's, I know that's very broad. So I give lots of ideas. But usually if it's to the point where someone's booking a one-on-one session with me, it's because they have a specific goal in mind.
That's true.
And for you to use an example, you were like, I want my website to be poppin'. I want this to be everything it can be. And I need a second set of eyes on it. And so we basically have done a website audit. But when I get sessions with some people, I've had different things, like one person one time came to me and said, I have a show coming up in a couple months. I want to prepare my marketing for it. Can we create a marketing strategy together? Absolutely. I mean, you can get a lot done in 60 minutes when you are on the go, on the clock with that. And I find that that is a really great option for people who aren't maybe ready to do the whole course. Because I do have courses. I do have like class options, like longer things about branding and getting started with your marketing and your branding and getting your foundation set up for your art business. But that's not for everybody. And so I love to have that option to be like, okay, if you want to work on one specific thing, like you and your website, a 1 hour one-on-one session is absolutely the way to go. So a lot of coaches these days kind of shy away from the one-on-one coaching. I
Really?
know that's a bit of a, I know it's a bit of a blanket statement, but there's a lot of people out there who don't do the one-on-one coaching because it's time consuming and, you know, it's a lot. It can be a lot. So a lot of people just do the passive courses. And I am not going to do that. I love the one-on-one coaching. It's what makes me so happy, is getting to hear about what are you doing and where are you going, and help you brainstorm and come up with ideas. And I love it so much because every artist is so different. Every artist has different goals. They are in a different place in their career. I have worked with artists who just graduated their art program. And they're like, I want to get all this foundational work done before I jump into the professional world.
Gotcha.
And then I've worked with artists like you who are, I am a working artist. This is how I make my living, you know, and I'm constantly selling and I'm in the thick of it. Right. So I've worked with artists like that. And then I've worked with artists who have had a 20, 30 year long successful career. And they're like, what's next? What are we doing next? So every single artist is so different. And that's what makes it so exciting for me. And then also that's how I learn best, is when I get to work with somebody and I can ask them my specific questions. Because if I get into a group coaching program or something and I don't get a chance to ask my question or enough time to like work on it, I get really frustrated because I'm like, no, I need to workshop this. I don't understand it. Right. So I learn best in that one-on-one kind of style teaching. So I like to teach the way I learn. And I think that is what keeps me connected to my audience and keeps me connected to my clients, because I really enjoy that. Plus, I'm an artist myself, and so I feel like I can speak the language pretty well.
Totally.
And I can speak to the insecurities that we all have. And it's been really great to discover what works well for artists, but what works well for me. And I love the one-on-one coaching sessions. So those no matter what will always be available, no matter what courses I put out or workshops or anything. That's always going to be an option for people if they need that little bit of extra help, if that could make a difference in their art journey, then yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Some things I've brought to our one-on-one sessions have been like, hey, I want to make my website better. And I've gone through like 3 iterations of I want to make my website better with you. And it's been really good steps in between. I've asked Brittany things like, how do I, make my hashtags more impactful? How do I mean, it's just been like many, many items. So if you're ever like, I have a question about my social media, I don't know how to make it better. I don't know what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong. Or, some things are getting engagement, some are not. And what even is a branding language? These are.
What is brand?
What is a brand? These are excellent things that you can ask Brittany at basically any time. She has like like an encyclopedia about this that I just haven't been trained in, and so it's good to go to a coach.
Oh, thank you. Well, if it makes you feel better, no one's been trained in it. This is all this is all learned, right? So I've been fortunate enough to have experience on both sides of being an artist myself, being both a selling artist, making my own artwork, but also in graphic design. And then also on the other side, I've worked in marketing. I've worked in publishing. Like, I've seen that side of things. And so I always like to say that I am bridging the gap. I am the one that can bridge that gap, because there's so much advice online. You can type in like how to brand my artwork, and there's a million answers there. But what one is going to apply to you and not stress you out? Because a lot of the advice that's given online, I found, was like small business advice.
Right.
And it's good advice, but I like to say I translate that advice for an artistic brain and a creative heart.
Yeah, you definitely tailor it to an artist.
So be like, hey, yeah, okay, so stay consistent on social media. How do we do that without hating it? Like, oh, you need to, have an email marketing list and like creative list. And it's like, okay, how do I do that without taking time away from the studio? So this is kind of the reason why, like, I started this business, is I wanted to be that bridge. I wanted to be that gap, and to help artists, become independent truly, because we're not taught that. Most people are just thrown out of art school and they're like, okay, we taught you how to art. Good luck. Kick you out of the nest. Like a little unceremoniously.
That is absolutely my experience.
It's what I hear most from artists, and we like to, as a coachy word, it's a pain point, right? It is a pain point for artists. It's difficult for a lot of us, because we get out into the world and we go, now what? And they're like, figure it out, sell your art. Well, sell your art? That's ridiculous. That's
so vague.
Yeah. And how you, Stephanie, sell art is very different than how I sell my art. We have two different audiences. We have two different mediums.
It's true.
We're going to market completely differently. So it's not a blanket statement. Go sell your art. Go market your art. So there's nothing wrong with getting really, really in depth, having a lot of lessons, working one-on-one with people. I think that's kind of why the Social Atelier has evolved so much over the last 3 years and grown to meet the needs of the artists that I've worked with, because I'm like, hey, I've got this experience, but where do you need help? And if you've come out of, art school, if you've come out of something like that, and then you're like, well, what next? I like to say, hey, I can help with that. Or just, if you don't want to buy a coaching session, that's okay. I'm still going to show up in your Instagram and cheer you on. Because I always like to say I'm your coach and biggest fan, because either I'm going to be on the field coaching you, or if not, no worries. I'm still going to be in the stands with pom-poms, right? And I do actually literally have pom-poms.
Do you really?
Break out sometimes. I do. I have pom-poms in my bright yellow brand color. I love them. I love to like surprise pom-pom session with my with my students sometimes too. It makes them smile and it makes it feel not so serious, because art is something we love. We do it because we love it. We love everything about it, even the hard parts. Because if we didn't love the growth part of it, if we didn't love learning new things and pushing ourselves and challenging ourselves, we wouldn't be artists. We would be at a simple plug and play 9-to-5 job, which is great if that's what your personality is.
Right.
But my personality doesn't fit for that. I want to be challenging. I want to try new things. I want to learn new things. It doesn't mean that's not scary, though. It doesn't mean that's not overwhelming. And there's nothing wrong with getting a little extra help here and there.
Exactly. You are a mindset coach as well as a branding coach and all of that. I found that when I worked with you, social media before I'd worked with you had been something that I was kind of really resenting and had struggled working with. But afterwards I was like, okay, this is a tool for my business. And like, it became fun with that mindset change. It's so important.
Do you remember what we always say?
Tell me your Britneyism.
They got branded as a Britneyism. I don't know. I don't know how. I have like a couple, for those listening, I have a couple sayings that I say over and over and over. And to the point, I had clients like repeating them back to me. And I was like, oh, I do say that. And one of those things is that social media, like, are you on social media or are you using social media? Are you passively on, see here I go into coaching. Are you passive, my coach voice, are you passively on social media, like in passing? Are you just on there? Are you just throwing things up there? Are you just kind of existing on there and scrolling mindlessly and aimlessly without intention? Or are you using social media with intention? Are you using it as a tool to help move the needle forward and get you to where you want to go? And that is kind of like really eye-opening for a lot of artists. They're like, you know what? I am just kind of dinking around on social media without a purpose. I'm on here because I was told I had to have it, but I wasn't taught why I need to have it, how it can be useful, in what way should I use it. And so I think that was where, you're saying is like that kind of mindset switch comes in. And so if I can help any artist with that statement, with teaching them that lesson, then that's a win in my book, because I want them to enjoy social media. I want them to use it as a tool and see all of the possibilities that it can be in you being an independent artist and getting your art out into the world.
I think that's what I'm gonna title this episode. Do you want to enjoy social media? Go talk to Brittany.
Do you want to love it again? Remember how excited you were when Instagram came out? Let's get that back.
And it is fun now. I look forward to posting, and it's really fun.
It is good. And I know some people might look at it and be like, well, you have lots of followers, Stephanie. Like, what do you know of my struggles? Well, that happens. Followers are organic, and they grow when you put effort and you put energy and you put love into your audience. You will attract more of those followers. But I always like to say, and I love to use this example because it just boggles people's minds. I love to use my own social media as an example, because I have some people look at my social media and they're like, what do you mean you teach this? Like, you have hardly any followers. I think I'm up to like 700 followers right now. Isn't that crazy? It's nice. Only 700. And I have a full-time business.
That's amazing.
Let that sink in. Like, I have less than 1,000 followers, and I never not have clients, because I don't need 10,000 followers. I need 700 loyal returning client followers. So it's the same thing with like your paintings. It's like, well, 10,000 followers doesn't help you necessarily sell those paintings, right? But a smaller, dedicated, diehard Twitch family who want to commission you for paintings, that's where it is. So it's like, who are you talking to? Who are you spending your time with? Are you chasing, again, here's one of those coachy terms, and I love to throw these out because I love to help make it make sense, because you hear these things a lot and you're like, what is that? But vanity metrics. Vanity metrics are when I'm like, well, I want 10,000 followers because I want to be seen having a large audience. Like, it makes me feel good when I get tons of likes and my reel goes viral, and it's like, ooh, it feels good. Guess what? I have a reel going viral right now.
Yeah, you do.
And that doesn't help me because it's a random reel. It has nothing to do with my audience. I want to attract people who really care about my teaching.
Yeah.
What I'm putting out there. It's called an ideal client. So who are you talking to? Who's your niche audience? Those are the people that are going to turn into, go from, followers to fans, and then eventually fans to clients, or people who commission artwork.
It's so good.
So if you think about it that way, we have to let go of that stress that we have on social media about like, I need more followers. I need more followers. I need more followers. I'm like, I am living proof that if you take care of the followers you have, you constantly put effort into them, they will return it. And you've created a relationship. Isn't that awesome?
It's so awesome. I'm a big believer in relationship building on social media. Like, I feel like I get more sales by DMing people and just not being like, hi, buy a painting, but being like, hey, how's your dog doing? Like, creating those relationships and being like,
you're a person.
You're a person.
Absolutely.
And I'm a person.
And that's why I, you know, and like I had to get comfortable with it. Obviously, it took a little while, but like I had to plaster my face all over my brand because they need to see that I'm a real person and I'm here and I love hanging out with you and I like to believe me when I say I really want to support you. And if that means that you're going to pay me to coach you, awesome. But if that means that you just need me to comment on your post, absolutely. Or if that means that, you know, I can show up at First Thursday and, you know, promote your work at the gallery, like that's what I'm going to do because we're all about building relationships and being there, whether or not you're getting paid for it. Like leave the money at the door because I would much rather have those relationships and then somebody want to hire me because they trust me and they like me and they feel like they can, you know, bring me their problems and trust me to help solve them. And that's when we get the most work done. If you're looking for like a quick fix, like how can I get 10,000 followers? Guess what? I'm not the coach for you. And that's okay. I'm really okay with it. There's a lot of amazing coaches out there who are like, let's go viral. Like, let's get you those followers. Awesome. That is great. I will not gatekeep that. I will send you their profile because they're awesome coaches. It's just, that's not what I teach. I teach about showing up authentically and putting yourself out there in a way that can build those relationships because I truly believe for artists, that's then where your business grows and your career, you know, takes off. And like, again, just to like go back to what we were saying earlier, it's been so fun having gotten to work with you over a full year now, just past a year. Actually, that was a spring workshop. So it's been just over a year just to see the difference you've created in those relationships on social media, like the way that you talk to your audience and the way you reach out and interact and stuff. It's been so cool. So I wasn't at all surprised when you messaged me and was like, I think we're going to start a podcast. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
It's true.
The next phase of giving back to your audience, because that's what you do. You've built a relationship and here we are. Isn't that cool?
It's very cool.
I'm so proud.
Cool. When I was first working with you, I had the question in my mind. I was like, how do I like sell my work without being salesy? And I feel like you just answered the question.
Oh, good.
Which is just like
build relationships.
And that's how you do it. And consistently build the relationships and work on them. It's super great.
And to show up. Consistent. To show up. No one can buy your artwork if you don't constantly put it in front of them, right? And I know a lot of people are like, oh, we're pushing all this video content and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's a whole nother conversation. But one of the things from that is that people's attention spans are very short now, especially being online. We've been online so much in the last 2 years that, you know, more than ever before, because for a while, it's the only way we could stay in contact with people, right? Like lockdown. But now attention spans are so short and we have to get in front of people constantly. Did you know that in sales, you need, it's averaged out to be 16 touch points before you can make a sale?
What?
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
16. I bet if I look back at my page, it works.
So if you're like, okay, I showed, you know, someone watched my, you know, someone saw me on their story. They saw me on their post. I sent out an email, you know, why aren't they buying my artwork? Well,
still got 12 more to do.
Right? They only saw you a couple of times and you want them to invest in a couple of $1,000s. Like, no. We need more of those touch points. So I never want people to get discouraged because we have to keep at it consistently. That doesn't mean you have to be pushy or salesy. Like you're saying, like artists have a deep fear of that because we care about how we're seen. We care about how our artwork is perceived. We don't want it to be big commercial,
Right.
like pushiness, right?
Because we're not.
We're not. But we do have to show up, and we do have to say, this is what I offer. Here's my artwork. What do you think about it? Do you like this? Like, here it is again, And then after a whole bunch of times, people be like, I've seen that piece twice and I still love it. I think I want to buy it.
It's that easy.
It is that easy. If you stay consistent and you show up. So you have to show up to play, not to be like, blow my whistle and be a coach, but like, get on the field.
Get on the field.
Let's go. Let's hustle. Because if you're an independent artist and you're selling your own work, it's part of the game. It is part of it. You have to wear a lot of different hats and be willing to get out there and play the field. So it is a lot of work, though.
It's a lot of work, but you break it down, you make a plan. It doesn't feel like work.
And it shouldn't. It shouldn't. There should be a very nice boundary drawn between I like to say, your marketing headspace and your creative heart space. They're two separate things. Like when you do your admin work, when you do your social media and sales, should not be the same time. You're pulling out a paintbrush. You're breaking out the clay. Like, they need to be two separate times. And it's one of the things that I have to push a lot with my artists to be like, okay, let's make this differentiation, right? Like, let's make sure you're giving your artwork the time it deserves, but also your business side, the time it deserves. Because if you skimp on the business side, you're doing a disservice to your artwork, because then it will never get out and it will never be seen. So if it's hard for you to think about getting myself out there and pushing my stuff and, it's that focus on self, it's a little hard, then think about your artwork. As the entity that it is, what does my artwork deserve? And all of a sudden it becomes a lot easier to be like, well, this deserves to be seen. Like, isn't this beautiful? Like, it needs to be out there. And all of a sudden it becomes a lot easier. So that's when you talk about, what do you do marketing coaching and what do you do mindset coaching? That's kind of like a good example of like, hey, we have to realize this about ourselves and how we function as artists in this whole marketing craze.
It's so good. It's so good. I got recently a question that was asked to me on Twitch, and I was like, I feel like this would be a good question to ask Brittany.
I love questions. I love questions.
This person told me, I'm feeling discouraged about posting on Instagram. My photos don't seem to get any engagement lately. They're still photos they're talking about. What do I do to, one, re-engage people and also have more fun when posting?
Great question. This is two questions.
It's two questions.
And I think I'm going to answer it as two questions because we do that as artists a lot too. We ask like the big overarching question. It's like, okay, let's break it down into smaller pieces so we can really address what's going on here. I totally get that. Not a lot of engagement. How do I re-engage people? I think my question that I would return to this artist is, are you engaging with anyone else? Are you giving, right? Are you giving the engagement you would like to receive?
So good.
For two reasons, right? One, the algorithm. The big scary algorithm. But if you are just posting and that's all you're doing, you are not a very active account. Your account needs to be active in all of its avenues. You need to be engaging and putting out engagement to also receive engagement. I guarantee you, if you spend a week and every day spend 15 to 20 minutes engaging with others, not just your close friends list, but reaching out and engaging with the people you want your artwork to be seen by or other people in your industry, you'll start to see engagement. If you're actually responding to other people's stories, sending DMs, going out and finding new accounts and commenting on it, reaching out, that outward engagement, it is going to say, hey, this account's super active, and it's going to help send more people your way. The other part of that too is, how are you writing your caption?
Ah.
Right? And so
Mhm.
you went through this in the workshop, and
Oh, I totally did.
actually this this free resource will be available in writing captions. I have a whole like workbook on this.
Oh, cool.
And the end of your caption teaches you how to write an engaging caption for as an artist for your audience. And at the end, there is the CTA, the call to action.
Gotcha.
Right? It is the call to action that we ask from our audience. Now, it doesn't have to be like a very like specific, as in like, here's my newest piece. Like, what do you think of the piece? Technically, that's a call to action, but that's like a little on the
It's kind of weak,
right?
Yeah.
But you can say, what piece are you working on right now? Or do you prefer the blue or the yellow in this piece? Or do you prefer a warm or a cool palette? Whatever it is regarding the caption, it encourages people to comment. Will they always like respond directly to that call to action and answer your question? Half the time, actually more than half the time, no. But they'll comment anyway because they were engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a kind of twofold answer to the one question. How do I get more engagement on my posts that don't seem to be getting any engagement? One, are you going out and engaging yourself in the kind of engagement that you would like to receive? And then two, on your post, are you asking for any engagement? If you're not asking, if you're just like, this is my new piece.
It's my biggest pet peeve when people are like, here's the title and here's the materials and here's what it's made and that's it. I'm like, what else?
It's just it.
Tell me more.
Right? So that is the difference between the piece being, think of it physically, like in a physical space.
Mm-hmm.
If the piece is hung up in the gallery and you walk up to it and it's just there, this is the equivalent to like, here's the title, here's the materials.
Exactly.
Right? There you are. It's here for you to admire. You look at it, you're like, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you, what?
Walk away.
Walk away. Yes. It's the difference between that and you, the artist, standing next to the painting, and someone walks up and looks at it and you go, oh, this is the piece. This is what it's titled. And like, what do you like it? Like, do you like the warm and cool in it? And they go, oh yeah, I do. I like that. And all of a sudden you're having a conversation. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's to put it in context outside of social media. That's the difference. What is the likelihood more of you either getting a business card given out in that conversation, making a sale, showing other pieces? There is a chance then for further engagement, further relationship building than just, here is my piece of artwork. Ta-da!
That's such a good answer. Yeah.
So that is how I would answer that for your Twitch subscriber. And I hope they hear this. And if they do, let me know, how that sat with you. But then the other question of how do I have more fun?
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge question.
It's so big. I know. They just like slid it in at the end. I was like, oh,
like, how do I have more fun? I think the answer to that, the simple one, obviously we could talk about this for hours, but the simple answer I would give to that is remind yourself why you're there. Mm-hmm. If you're there for likes and you're there for 10,000 followers and you're there to make instant sales and stuff, of course you're not going to have fun. Mm-hmm. You're going to be so worried about all that. You lose sight of why you got on there. Why did you get on there? You got on there to show your artwork, to share how much you love it, right? Yeah. To get excited about sharing your work. And when you kind of get back to that real purpose, that's going to help a lot. So that's the first step. If you want to know more, we can talk about it. But you can absolutely DM me anytime. But that would be the simple answer, that how to have more fun is to rediscover your purpose.
That's really awesome. Heck yeah. Do you have any new, classes or things coming up for you in your business with the Social Atelier?
I do. I actually am launching my very own mobile app next month in September.
I can't wait to download it.
I'm so excited. It will be free to download. I do want to mention that. So I'm very excited for it. It's kind of the next phase. So much of my coaching has been focused on the local art community here in Seattle. And we just celebrated, it's a one-woman show for anyone listening. It's me, myself, and I here at the Social Atelier. I just celebrated 3 years of being in business. And over these 3 years has been a huge experiment of finding out what works, what doesn't work, what artists truly need, and what fluff can we cut out. And so after all of that, I've been able to kind of figure out, okay, how do we need to move forward? And one of those things was having everything in one place. Because artists, like, we have so much going on. There's so much to keep track of.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need, to talk to me on social media and have my website and have your course on Teachable and have, it's just a lot. So I'm moving everything, condensing everything into this mobile app where you're going to be able to find all of my courses. You're going to be able to find all of my free workbooks.
Awesome.
You're going to be able to find, like some low ticket offers. So like $7, $8 kind of offers of like recordings of lessons or different things like that. But get this is my favorite part. My favorite part about this is that there are, you can get a push notification. So when you join, say, the free 7-day posting challenge that I'm going to create, it will remind you and be like, hey, like, have you done your post today? Like, I can help you stay accountable. I can be there with you through this app. And I'm really excited about it. So, it's a lot to figure out. We have to put it all together and, it's, iron out the bugs and stuff, but it is going to be launching in September. And there's going to be like a lot of offers and stuff. So I'm just so excited to be bringing this to local and, international people. Like anyone who has the Google Play Store or the Apple, store can download this. And I'm excited that it's going to make it so easy for them.
Heck yeah. I can't wait to download it and use it. Have my little workbooks and everything.
I'm so glad. It will be great. And that's where you're going to hear, announcements about, anything that coming up. If I have that workshop again, you're going to see it there on the app first, any special offers and stuff. But so in the meantime, if people want to know about the app and like when the launch date is and any special offers and stuff, you can just sign up for my email list. And those people are going to find out first when I have dates and launch dates and stuff. I'm kind of keeping it like hush hush until the last moment. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be bringing those resources to artists and get to work with more people and just kind of move on to the next phase of the Social Atelier. It's a very exciting time, and I'm happy that I get to like finally talk about it. That like, hey, the app is happening. I was hesitant to share about it because it's such a big step and it's so different. But I hope that artists are gonna like it. I hope they're gonna have fun with it.
Your app sounds so good, and I'm really looking forward to it. Hey, Brittany, how can people find you on the internet?
They can find me many different ways. I'm everywhere. No, I love for people to connect with me on Instagram. I love to have conversations and get to follow you and support artists. So if you want to connect with me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at the.socialatelier. And then you can also find me on my website, which is thesocialatelier.co. And you can sign up for my email list and we can stay connected that way. And I can get you all those cool like news announcements and things. And then if you're a fan of podcasts, which I'm guessing, your audience is,
maybe.
Hey, we're here. I do have my own podcast, which is called, surprise, The Social Atelier Podcast with Brittany Torres. And I started up early this year, had to take a break, but we're going to be starting up soon, very soon again. But I think it's episode 4. I think it's episode 4 that a certain Stephanie Scott is featured, and we have like an hour-long conversation about Twitch streaming, and was so much fun to do.
It's the podcast interview that convinced me that I wanted to be a podcast host. So
I was like, "You're really good at this. Have you thought about doing your own?" And Oh, I don't know.
I
And
don't
the next
know.
thing I know, she's like, hey, look at my podcast. I'm like, that's amazing.
It's the truth.
We need more of that in the world. But yeah, I would love to be connected with people, and I love meeting new artists. I love meeting artists who are not local, and I mean, everybody, but it's so great having a podcast and getting to reach more people and find people in different art communities and seeing what they're up to. And I just love getting to support artists. I think they're just like the coolest. And you know what? I would not have started selling my artwork again if it hadn't been for my community.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
I was convinced that my art was just a passion project, that it wasn't worth being sold. Like, I didn't want to pursue it and everything, because I was surrounded by all these amazing oil painters and different things, and I'm like, no one wants to see my Photoshop art. And my community and my clients like saw my artwork and were so in return supportive of me that I've started selling my own artwork and doing more shows and things. And I just think it goes to show that whether you're a coach or whether you're an artist or anyone, we all need that community. We all need that community support, and how powerful it is. So getting to connect with new people through social media, through a podcast, it's so great. So I hope you do reach out. I hope you do hang out with me, because I'd love to hang out with you.
What is your app going to be called? Is it the Social Atelier app?
Surprise! Yes,
Surprise,
it is going to be called the Social Atelier. Yeah. Make it just really, really easy. I mean, I know I could probably be more creative, but I just like it all being the same. It just
It's really
makes
nice.
it easy. I'm a fan of the like work smarter, not harder. Like we've got too many other stuff going on, and you know, we spend so much energy being creative. It's okay for some things to be simple. It's okay to just be like, you know what? Everything's called the Social Atelier. Awesome.
Heck yeah. If people are interested in getting some coaching from you, but they're like, I don't know if I want to book an hour, do you have like a discovery call or something like that?
Right now I do. So as soon as the app launches, that is going away.
Okay.
So I'll keep it on for like a couple extra weeks. So I think till the end of September, you can book a 20-minute free discovery call with me. And we can chat about like, hey, is a coaching course good for you? So this would be for people who are interested in one of my courses, one of the bigger, longer commitments, because that's, they're 12 weeks long. It's a big commitment. Yeah. And I want to make sure that you're feeling good and you're feeling happy about it. You have all your questions answered. So if you're like, 1 hour's cool, but I feel like I would do really well with accountability, with support, with structure, then the course might be a really good fit for you. So until the end of September, I am going to keep open that 20-minute free discovery call. You can just sign up for it on my website. Awesome. And we can chat about if that's going to be a good fit for you. And then after that, all of that information and videos and stuff is just going to be available within the app. So you'll have all your questions answered.
So cool. So cool. Well, thanks for joining me today on the podcast on Brushwork. And
thank you for having me. It's been so great. And I'm so, speaking as a fan, such a fan of the podcast, a fan of everything you're doing, and then speaking as your coach, which is such an honor, that I'm so proud of you and how much this brand has grown and how dedicated you are to your followers and how I see them just appreciate you back. And it's just been so neat to see that this grow naturally and evolve. And yeah, you do such a great job. So as you can tell, I'm a big fan of my clients. But yeah, thank you for having me. This has been so fun. I'm usually the one interviewing people, so it's been such a pleasure to get to come on here and share your space and chat. It's been great.
Thank you so much to Brittany Torres for joining me today for another episode of Brushwork. I had a lot of fun talking with Brittany, and I'm looking forward to working with the Social Atelier in the future. If you're looking for help with your social media page, with your artistic brand, or anything that falls under that umbrella, send Brittany a DM because she has really, really helped me with my brand, and I'm a big believer in her work. You can find Brittany at The Social Atelier on Instagram, and you can find me and the Brushwork podcast at stephaniescott.art. All right, that's all for today. Make good choices, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye!